Today we are going to make a Valentine bento. We're going to make Valentine pizza. For this bento, you're going to need some bento boxes. You're going to need some pizza toppings that your kids like. I have olives and pineapple. You're going to need some cheese, some pepperoni if they like that, some flour tortillas. This time I am using white tortillas. I normally try to use whole wheat, but the white are a little puffier and so they're a little more like pizza crusts. For their fruit, I'm going to use strawberries. I recommend strawberries as they do look like hearts. And for the veggie, we're going to do celery. I have this Valentine's Snack mix, which I'm going to have the recipe on my blog any day now. And basically, it has some cereals and some conversation hearts. Now, because I found out Zarek does not like conversation hearts, I got him special candies to put into his snack mix. You're also going to want some fun, cute little Valentine picks, and you're going to need some heart-shaped cookie cutters in a couple different sizes. Now, I got these at Michael's, and I used a 40% off coupon, so it was less than $4 for these. Now, you also, which I don't have shown here, is you may want to have little silicone cups for the different kinds of pizza toppings. So here I added my silicone cups to the bento box, and I just put them in some fun Valentine colors. And we're going to add our fruits and veggies first. So we're going to take a strawberry, and we want to find one that's really heart-shaped. You know, some of these aren't quite as heart-shaped as others. And we're going to take it, and we're going to cut off the top. And then we're going to slice it down the middle. And then we're going to take our pick and put it right through the center. We're just going to add that to our box. For our veggie, I chose celery. Now, I like celery for Valentine's Day because it actually looks heart-shaped. And so you could actually cut these in lengths and put them in there, or what I do is I just cut them into bite-sized shapes for my boys. And I'm going to just sprinkle those right around the strawberries. Now I'm going to add the trail mix. You don't want it in the fruits and veggies. Okay. I want a little bit more cereal in there than candy. Raisins. Okay. So there's a little bit of a trail mix for him in there, and that'll be his treat. And for Zarek, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out all the conversation hearts and put that other candy in there for him. So next we're going to add our pizza toppings. So you're going to need some heart-shaped cookie cutters. I'm using 2 different sizes. You don't necessarily need to use 2 sizes. The most important thing is you want one that's going to be smaller than the pepperonis. Now, if you don't have one that's smaller than pepperonis, you can go with Canadian bacon and use that with a little bit bigger heart. Or if your kids like chicken or anything like that, like lunch meat, you could actually cut shapes out of too. Zarek doesn't like pepperoni, so he's going to have just cheese and the other toppings. So this one has a fun frilly side and a straight side. I'm going to use the fun frilly side for the cheese. You just cut them and pop them out. So here's all our heart shapes. I'm actually going to do a second one for Zane, just because Zane will need a little bit more food than Zarek. Zarek, I only did 1 slice, and that was probably going to be enough for him. Now this extra cheese, what you can do is you can save it for something, like to sprinkle on something, or I just feed it to my kids, or I eat it. So for the pepperonis, I'm going to take this. I'm actually going to use just the straight side. The meat is not going to hold its shape as well, I think, with the little scalloped edge. So I'm just going to go with the regular shape. Same thing with your extra pieces of pepperoni. I'm sure your kids will just gobble them up, or you can. If you do a lot of these, you could actually make these up for, you could actually use these little pieces into some pizza muffins. You can actually cut these multiple at a time too. So here's all our pepperonis cut into little heart shapes now. Very cute. And we're just going to put those in one of the squares. Now for the pineapple and the olives, what I'm going to recommend doing is to blot them dry with a paper towel. Because we're going to be putting our pizza crust on top of here, you do not want these to be really wet, or else they're going to make your crust wet. And you may even consider putting a paper towel between your toppings and your pizza crusts. So the way that I did this is I just spooned some of the pineapple out onto a paper towel, and I just fold it over and I just blot it dry. Not necessarily dry, but I blot off the extra moisture. And I'm just going to put those in one of these little containers here. They're still a little bit wet. Blot. Put them in here. And then my olives. I'm just going to take a few, blot them. And then I'm going to cut these up. My kids love olives, and I use them in a lot of different of my bentos. I use them in full size, and I slice them. So I find that if I just buy them in their full size, it's pretty easy to just slice a few up. So add these to this side. So there's our bento so far. To make our pizza crust, we're going to take our tortilla. We're going to take our heart-shaped cookie cutter. And honestly, so here's the thing. I'm obviously going to have a lot of extra tortilla that I can just throw away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these little extra pieces into chips and throw them in my toaster oven and just toast them up, and the kids can have them tonight with dinner. So I'm just sliding this along my tabletop. There's our first pizza crust. Our second pizza crust. And Zane, I'm giving 3 pizza crusts, and Zarek, I'm giving 1. If you can find thicker whole wheat tortillas, that's awesome. I just couldn't find any. So here's our pizza crusts. So what I did was I folded a paper napkin into quarters, and then I wrote on one side, I said, build your own pizza, and put a little heart on it. I will put this in Zane's. Zarek's, I'm just going to let him go at it. I'm sure he'll figure it out. And I'm going to place this between the pizza toppings and our pizza crust. And then I'm going to put the lid on, and then there's our bento.